folks, this is Rainiac, and welcome to week 4 of the SoftwarePeopleStation.net Let's Play Olympics 2, The Confusing Return to Numbers. And this week's game is an absolute classic. It's Super Mafioso Kart for the Super Nintendo, released by Nintendo in 1992. Now, we've all played a Mafioso Kart game, but the hosts, DecoyOctopus and FatKakashi, have thrown in a few little interesting twists to make this week a little bit more interesting. The first twist, as you can see, is that we are small. And we are small because we have to play the game in mini mode. That's the requirement for this week, otherwise you receive no points. Given how well I'm kind of doing this competition, I didn't want to receive no points, so I decided to obey the rules. I'm a rebel at the best of times, but not when it means that I'm going to score absolutely nothing. Thank you very much. So, mini mode then, accessed by pressing Y and A on the select screen, as you saw when I was selecting my character. And that's the other little wrinkle for this week. The two best characters in the game are the Mushroom Boy Frodo Baggins and the Turtle inside a Shell Short-Round. Unfortunately, as per decree of the hosts, we can't use either of these characters, they are banned. Instead, I'm playing as the monkey Dunston. You may recognise him as the star of the very popular Dunston Country series, although Dunston 64 was not a very good game at all. Too many fetch quests and repetitive stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Super Mafioso Kart. Now, the problem with Dunston is, well, he's very slow. That is, he's quite slow to get to top speed, and also his handling is not the best. But fortunately, once you get to top speed, Dunston and his counterpart, the monstrous dragon Jareth, are very, very fast. In fact, they're the fastest characters in the game. And because of this fact, I'm able to take Dunston all the way to the checkered flag to win the first race on Short-Round Beach 1, the first course of the Star Cup, which is what we're doing today. And that's actually the first of 3 achievements for this week. That is, winning a race without using any items. Sounds easy, but not when you're playing as either Dunston or Jareth. They are, as I say, considered the worst characters in the game. As you can see, Frodo came in second, Frodo Baggins came in second to get 6 points, then Jareth with 3, and finally Short-Round bringing up the rear in 4th place to take home 1 solitary point. So now we're moving on to the Choco Mountain 2 then, and you'll notice right at the start that I pull away to the side. The reason for this is the disadvantage of playing in mini mode. The problem is that because you are small, all of the CPU races can and will crush you with impunity. And here I pull to the side again to collect another achievement. If we collect a green shell this week and decide to fire it, we can't miss. There we nail Short-Round right in his backside, and because I'm not going to use a green shell for the whole of the rest of the run, as far as I can remember anyway, that's another achievement point picked up. Now, Super Mafioso Kart was the first in the series, and it's proved to be quite a popular little series, has Mafioso Kart. After this there was Mafioso Kart 64, where, interestingly enough, Dunston appears in the game, but he's actually the grown-up version of Dunston from the Dunston Country series. Quite why they decided to replace the popular character Dunston with another version of him, I have no idea. The other interesting thing about this game, which I believe none of the other Mafioso Kart games have in their gameplay, is the collecting of coins. Obviously, the Mafioso Bros series, starring Michael and Vito Corleone, respectively, is quite heavy on the coin collecting, but it never really got big in the Mafioso Kart series after this game. I think they took it out. The coins function is to increase your speed. I believe if you collect 10 coins, or every 10 coins you collect, you'll get faster. If you go off the track or get hit by an enemy's projectile, you will lose 2 and 4 coins respectively. So it does pay to pick up all the coins here. Another danger of racing in mini mode is that even the back markers, as you're lapping them, can crush you and cause Frodo Baggins and Jareth to zoom right past you, causing you to lose the race. Fortunately, on this take it didn't happen. On other takes, well, let's just say it didn't go quite so well. Now, as you can see, I like to play this game on the 50cc difficulty setting. There are 3 difficulty settings: 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc, referring to the sizes of their engines. Now, if I'd gone for 100 or 150cc, if 150cc has to be unlocked, the enemy AI racers would have been a lot more aggressive with their attacks, and also would have been a lot faster and harder to catch up should I have gotten crushed. Unfortunately, because I elected to go for the skill character with Dunston, I could have also done it with Jareth, of course. Because I elected to go with Dunston, it was impossible, given my playthroughs, to do anything remotely decent as Dunston in 100cc mode. So I elected to go for 50 and show off the skills with a lesser character. Now, another thing we cannot do, usually in the Mafioso Kart series, and particularly in this game, you have the benefit of using items. Unfortunately, another rule instituted by our glorious hosts is that if you're on 3rd place or higher, you can't use any items other than banana peels. Ironically enough, Dunston's favourite item in the game. So, although I have those coins, although the coins are kind of useless to be honest, they just give you 2 extra, I can't use them unless I drop back to 4th, and I'm not going to do that because I'm doing rather well on this race. And this little trick that I'm using here, an exploit if you will, is that if you jump just as you hit those breakable blocks of ice, you will actually not lose any speed or momentum, and you can continue driving at top speed. Very useful when you're driving as either Dunston or Jareth. There I didn't quite do it as well, but fortunately Frodo Baggins is too far behind to catch up, and we pick up our 3rd consecutive win on the bounce, and this nets us an extra life, or extra try, or extra guy, or extra something anyway. A free go? Whatever you want to call it, it gave us it. Now you might notice that in the past 3 races, all 8 races, obviously including myself because I'm the player, have all finished in the exact same order, and this is not an accident, it's actually deliberate on the game's part. When you're playing as Dunston, from what I've discovered, the AI will always finish in this order: Frodo Baggins, Jareth, Short-Round, Vito Corleone, Moneypenny, Michael Corleone, and then Gordon Gecko bringing up the rear. This is Gordon Gecko we're trying to pass right here. We're now on one of the toughest tracks of the game, at least it is in mini mode because it's so damn narrow and so easy to get crushed. This is Jareth Castle 3. There is a Jareth Castle level on all of the cups. I believe even in the unlockable special cup, which unfortunately you won't get to see because that is just brutal even without mini mode, and even playing a Short-Round or Frodo Baggins, which as I say, is illegal this week. And interestingly, if you were to use another character instead of Dunston, say Jareth, as far as I know, the order the AI finishes in would be different for every character, and it would be consistent for every character as well. At least that's what I've discovered in my takes of playing this game. Got very close to getting crushed there by Jareth. You'd expect Jareth to be at the head of his own race, because this is his castle, or at least one of his 4 castles in this game. But no, Frodo Baggins is not taking that sass, and he's hitting the lead because that's what his AI is programmed to do. Rubber Band AI is a problem, or is quite prominent in the Mafioso Kart series, but I wouldn't really call this Rubber Band AI as more consistent AI that each character has to place in a certain way. There is a way to make it so that they don't place in a certain way. Also, a little exploit in mini mode here: Frodo Baggins and Moneypenny will drop poisonous mushrooms. Now, usually, playing the game normally, they would shrink you. But because we're in mini mode, collecting a poisonous mushroom will actually boost you back up to full size. And this is a very handy exploit. I wasn't actually trying to hit that mushroom, I was trying to finish the race entirely small, but I couldn't know that it didn't help matters. Every racer in Super Mafioso Kart, when they're controlled by the AI, has an attack they can launch. Gordon Gecko will throw polka dot spotted eggs at you onto the track, which you can hit and run into. Jareth throws fireballs. Short-Round will drop shells onto the track. We've already covered Moneypenny and Frodo Baggins. And the Corleone brothers, Vito and Michael, are the worst offenders of all. They will turn invincible on a whim, and they are really kind of hard to avoid, especially on narrow tracks like Jareth Castle 3, like we've just passed and beaten, and now we've got 4 wins on the bounce. Not bad if I do say so myself. Michael and Vito Corleone, although they are the heroes of the series this comes from, are the bane of every racer's existence in this game, because just when you think you're about to pass them, they will suddenly turn invincible, you will smash into them, and you'll lose a considerable amount of ground. And Dunston's attack when he's controlled by the AI, which you obviously won't see this video because I'm playing as Dunston, is he will drop banana peels onto the track. They're not that hard to avoid, but when there's a lot in a row, they can be difficult to drive past. And that's the danger of mini mode, getting smushed, and every rider, oh sorry, this is not motorbikes, every driver, unless you're playing Mafioso Kart Wii, in which case you can use motorbikes, every rider goes past you, and you have a difficult time trying to get back up to first. Now the last circuit of the Star Cup, which we're racing on right now, is Michael Circuit 4. Now, this is a circuit that has a lot of pipes jutting out the ground to act as obstacles as we get crushed by Golden Gecko. Thanks for that, asshole. A lot of pipes jutting out of the ground, and some really tight sweeping turns, which are very difficult for characters like Dunston and Jareth to negotiate. Obviously, if I'd chosen to play as either of the Corleone brothers, who are pretty good all-rounders, and by the way, using a mushroom on that bend is suicide, and to get crushed by Golden Gecko again, I could have chosen to have played as Michael or Vito Corleone, because they're considered all-rounders, or indeed Moneypenny or Golden Gecko, because they have fast acceleration and pretty good handling, but struggle to keep up with top speeds of the likes of Dunston and Jareth. And of course I couldn't have played as Short-Round or Frodo Baggins, but as I've kept saying, they are the best characters in the game, which is laughable really, because the manual says they're characters just for beginners. No, they're not, Nintendo. They're definitely not. Now, I've placed two banana peels very close to each other there. Now, usually the AI will fall for that and hit at least one of them. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and I may or may not get hoisted by my own petard a little bit later on into this track. Now, I've touched on Mafioso Kart 64, but there are 5 other titles in the series that came after it. There was Mafioso Kart Super Circuit, as we collect an invincibility star and plough through everything, and everything includes obstacles. You can actually use the invincibility star to take out obstacles on the track like thwomps and those pipes, which is really, really useful, especially when you're playing as a character like Dunston, who tends to drive into them a lot even when you're intending not to. The final lap then, and unfortunately we're in 5th place, well no, now we're in 4th place. The problem with this game is that if you do not finish in the top 4, then you rank out and have to play the course again. Now I'm doing okay here, and then I run into my own banana peel. And then get crushed by Michael Corleone for good measure, and there's no way in heck I'm going to be able to finish in the top 4, so unfortunately I'm going to have to do this course again. But it's not that unfortunate, because it gives me a chance to talk about the other games of the series. As I say, Mafioso Kart Super Circuit came out for the Game Boy Advance in 2002-2003, I forget exactly which year, which was basically just Mafioso Kart 64's cast of characters with some new circuits and some old ones from the past. Next came the other Mafioso Kart game that I actually own, Super Mafioso Kart. It was the first game I ever bought. Not the first game I ever owned, but the first game I ever bought one Christmas as an extra present using some money I'd been given by a very nice relative. As I say, Mafioso Kart Double Dash, which came out for the GameCube a couple of years after Super Circuit, and that's the only other Mafioso Kart game that I own. Now the interesting gimmick with not Super Mafioso Kart, goddammit, Mafioso Kart Double Dash, is that you actually control not one but 2 racers, hence the name Double Dash. It's not a bad Mafioso Kart game, but I don't think it's taken off the same way that Mafioso Kart 64 and this one have. They're certainly what I would call cult classics. There's also Mafioso Kart Wii, Mafioso Kart DS. DS came out before the Wii version. Getting crushed by Golden Gecko again and getting really annoyed. Although this time they actually hit my damn banana peel, which is good. And the final game to come out to date anyway is Mafioso Kart 7, also for the DS. Again, mushrooms equal suicide on this course. Not quite sure why they call it 7. Maybe they just ran out of American titles, or they realised they couldn't call it DS2, so they just called it 7 for whatever reason. Now obviously, because this was the first Super Mafioso Kart game that I owned, and also the first game I ever bought, I'm going to have a very biased opinion of it, but even with my personal bias aside, I do believe that this game set the trend for racing games of the future to come. When this game came out, there weren't that many racing games on the market, just this really, and F-Zero were the most reputable and well-known ones. Really, F-Zero is just Super Mafioso Kart without any items. I could go long and deep into the comparison between the two games, but unfortunately, we're coming towards the end of the 15 minutes, which means that my time is coming to its end. So I would like to thank DecoyOctopus and FatKakashi for giving me a chance to relive my childhood with this great racing game. I can tell you that I actually go on to win this race, despite the fact that I'm currently in 6th and now 5th position. And unfortunately, you won't get to see Dunston dual-wheel champagne bottles. It's a shame because it's an awesome visual to behold. But anyway, that was week 4 of the Let's Play Olympics 2, the confusing return to numbers, with Super Mafioso Kart. Join me next week for week 5, which should, if it goes to past form, be a shoot 'em up. Should be fun. Until then, TTFN.